Good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank everybody for taking the time to come up here and spend, I don't know, about 45 minutes with us talking NVIDIA and Microsoft. First and foremost, there's a QR code over here being pointed out over there. We're going to do a Q&A session at the end, so if you have a specific question, it'll go through the little system there, and hopefully we can get to that depending on how many questions come through. So please take full advantage of that. I'm Robin. I lead the Microsoft partnership with NVIDIA out of our Global Partner Solutions or Sales organization. We've just got so much momentum right now with this partnership, and this session is going to give you sort of a deeper look behind the covers with some of the announcements from yesterday's keynote. You'll see discussion around generative AI. We're going to talk about Foundry and really just sort of give you a better idea of truly where this partnership has gone from. And so I want to take just a minute to sort of talk about the keynote yesterday. I think it was a good surprise for all of us that Jensen was able to join Satya on stage. And these quotes are sort of a testament, and obviously the two of them on stage, they totally rocked it. But one thing that I took away, which I thought was cool, and because I'm on the partner side, obviously, and my whole job is to ensure that the success of this partnership, happens, right? And that means getting to market together and jointly selling together. And one of the cool things that Jensen said is our partnership is quite unique. There isn't another one like it, and I'm proud of it. And I typed that as he was saying it, just because I thought that was pretty cool. And that's really something that I feel like really proud of sort of where we've been. And this is sort of a slide that'll give you an idea of, the first time I actually talked about even taking the role as the partner lead for NVIDIA. First thing I said was like, oh yeah, chips for the Xbox. And believe it or not, that's obviously where we started this partnership. And fast forward through ChatGPT, we get into building the supercomputer, the DGX cloud, industrial metaverse with Omniverse. All of these elements are new to the partnership that we've had for many, many years. And so one of the things we talk about is like, hey, we're not changing the way we partner. We are still going to be close partners on the hardware side and obviously the Azure platform side, but moving into adding sort of a new muscle, which is bringing NVIDIA's AI package of offerings to Azure. And we're just super proud and super excited that we're able to do that. This sort of gives you an idea of a lot of the areas, and this is specific to some of the areas we are doing joint engineering on. You'll see in here, we talk about Omniverse Cloud, NVAI for Enterprise, DGX Cloud. Those are some of the areas that are brand new muscles to this partnership, but we continue to, innovate and do things together on the engineering side as well, and that will just continue to flourish as this partnership grows. With that, you guys don't want to hear from me anymore. You want to hear from the NVIDIA folks to really give you sort of the in-depth look into what we talked about or what the CEOs talked about yesterday and what they announced, and sort of give you an idea of the impact that we think it's going to make as we go to market together. So I want to introduce Anne from NVIDIA to dig into our first part of this session.
Thank you, Robin. Hey, thanks everybody for coming today. Don't be shy if you want to move to the forward. We have some empty seats here. So if we can even make this a little dynamic since we're an intimate group. I'm Anne, like Robin said. I work at NVIDIA. I've been there for about 7 years now, and I manage our product marketing team for a lot of our enterprise AI products, and in particular our software products. So the announcement that we had with Satya and Jensen was super exciting to see, because it's really the result of many years of work that we were able to bring that announcement to you and bring the Foundry for doing generative AI to Azure first. Generative AI is a key theme of the conference here today. The demo that they did as part of the keynote, where they showed the shop floor and the repair happening to the machine using a combination of virtual reality and AI to pull up service records, that was really compelling. We see today that a lot of the use cases that are being applied are more focused on immediate productivity gains from document review, first draft, creation using generative AI tools. And that's where really we're focused on with the first generation of this AI Foundry and using LLM models to do generative AI and bring that to the enterprise for these productivity gains. And there was a session here right before ours where they were talking about using generative AI for these productivity enhancements. And the product of that is obviously that your employees have now time to do more thoughtful work, more challenging work, and they can be relieved of doing some of the more tedious tasks by using generative AI. So whether that's in finance, for doing analyst reviews, in healthcare, doctors can pull up records faster and get a brief on a customer's history, and creating records across every industry, and then obviously as well as in manufacturing like we saw yesterday. So we also appreciate that bringing AI to your enterprise is challenging. And I know there's not a lot of us, I know some of you, but of you, how many are you doing AI today and have it in production in your organization? Just a show of hands. And of you, how many of you are actually doing generative AI? Okay, great. And so I think you probably have encountered some of these challenges around trustworthiness, the quality of the data to train that generative AI, whether or not it was responsibly curated, the intellectual property that then gets embedded into your generative AI model and how you protect that IP, and protecting employees and your IP from any intrusions or misuse of that generative AI. So we see sort of three steps in this process is, enterprises need a safe place to actually experiment with models, and they need safe models to experiment with that have been, developed responsibly. They need the tools to actually customize and modify and iterate on those models. And they also need, a cloud-native factory to do that customization and to run those models in production. And that is really what we announced yesterday, is the AI Foundry. And this diagram does a really nice job of sort of unpacking the key elements of what makes up a foundry. On the left there, you see what is in the foundry, that starting with the foundation models. And we've provided in Azure Machine Learning a new family of models that NVIDIA actually has created. We've curated the data responsibly, built the models ourselves. There are about 5 of them, LLM models that do both chat and Q&A tasks and can be embedded in applications. And those are now available on Azure as well as from NVIDIA's NGC platform. The other key part of a foundry is our NeMo framework. And think of NeMo framework as like a set of tools for customizing and tuning a generative AI model. And then finally, an actual runtime, the GPU cloud, to do that customization and that modification on the best-in-class stack for performance with best networking, GPUs, all purpose-built to do custom tuning and delivery of generative AI applications. And then the product of that foundry is what you see in the middle of this slide, a customized model, which once you bring your own proprietary data from your business to the foundry, customize that model, it produces a custom model that is based on your DNA, based on your data, that then can be put into deployment. And the benefit of using one of our customized models is that it also includes the runtime for putting it into production. So when it comes time to actually run that model, you can run it anywhere, including on the Azure cloud on a safe, secure platform. So the rest of this session is going to be unpacking all the elements of what makes up a foundry. We're going to talk about the models, NeMo, DGX Cloud, and NVIDIA Enterprise, and then where you can get access to the foundry and all the parts of that foundry. So I wanted to highlight 2 customers that participated in our announcement. The first one being Amdocs. Amdocs is a telecom solution and software provider. They have over 350 customers worldwide in 85 countries. But combined, those 350 customers serve almost 2 billion customers. Those customers do over 1 billion transactions a day. that they manage on their platform. And they're bringing their customers, their enterprise telco customers, generative AI for customer support, better user experience, and productivity gains. They're taking a model that they've developed and they're tuning it for each of their enterprise customers on the DGX Cloud platform and using NVIDIA Enterprise. So very similar Foundry, right? You have one generative AI model that can be your foundation model, but then you adapt it to individual use cases. And in this case, it's different 350 different telco customers that will be getting very tailored generative AI solutions to their data set from Amdocs. And then the other one is SAP, which was also very exciting. They were also highlighted in the keynote yesterday. And SAP has a co-pilot they call Joule that they've developed. And they're taking that one foundation model and then tuning it, customizing it for each of their enterprise customers and embedding it into their offerings that they deliver to an end customer. So they're sort of a one-to-many model again, bringing AI to their enterprise customers and using DGX Cloud on Azure, our software stack, to build derivative models from their foundation model and then embed Copilot for customer support, productivity gains into their software that they deliver to enterprises. So exciting, and in order to be able to create these derivative models customized for all of these different end customers, with their specific data, their DNA, you need a high-performance, scalable platform that's also very affordable. So the ability that now we can scale this out and integrate it into these types of solutions that are very purpose-built is really exciting, and because of our partnership with Azure. So let's talk about the models a little bit. This is kind of exciting for us. We've had models hosted on our NGC environment. This is the first time we've brought those models to a third-party environment and put them in Azure Machine Learning in particular. So you can go to Azure Machine Learning, access our Nemotron family of models for the first time. Like I mentioned before, they're optimized for production. They were actually built with curated data, trustworthy sources of data that we licensed. And when you look at the license for the model, it discloses this in the library card for each of the models. So you can use it with confidence that you're not going to have an issue. They are optimized to be used with NeMo, so you can customize and adapt these models. And we also have published a set of community models, and you see them up here like Llama 2. And we've converted those models to the NeMo container runtime, which means that you can use those with the NeMo framework very easily and put them into production, and they're optimized for running on our stack. So in the case of Llama 2, when we converted it to the NeMo format, we saw over a 4x performance gain. So the benefit of using, of course you can use Llama 2 from Hugging Face and from Meta, et cetera, but the benefit of coming and using the ones that we've optimized is you get the performance gains, which means you have infrastructure savings because you need less infrastructure to run the same model, getting better performance for your end users. So let's see, everybody cross your fingers. I have a little demo. The people who actually put this together in the audience, so you guys can tell me if I do this wrong. But I want you to see how easy it is to go to machine learning, Azure Machine Learning, access our models, and actually put them into deployment. And of course, you can deploy directly onto our runtime in Azure Machine Learning, or you can tie it, using RAG to tie it to your customer data and use that as a technique to put it into deployment as well. So here it goes. So you can see where the models are, the nice green menu item, and you can open up each model. Gives you description as well as discloses you sort of the data sources and information about the model. Again, these are focused on chat and Q&A. You can then take that model and change a few configurations, then move it into a production environment. And with all of these models that are NVIDIA sourced, we provide support for those models. And there's a menu item down there, so if you want support, you can contact us, and we will actually help you support you as you put them into deployment. So thank you to the AV guys that actually ran. I've done this a lot of times, and you get to that slide, and nothing happens. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little bit of time to kind of debrief what NeMo is. I've talked about NeMo and mentioned that quite a few times. Think of that as like a tool chest of a lot of our optimizations for doing customization and fine-tuning of your LLM. Many of you know, I think, we've been doing AI and NVIDIA for 10 years, over 10 years. So NeMo embodies a lot of that expertise and makes it accessible to an enterprise customer. It starts with data curation, so it enables you to really source data across large data sets, curate it, filter it, dedupe it, so that then you can use it through a distributed training model, which NeMo also supports, so you can scale across multiple nodes. Again, those could be DGX nodes to do your training efficiently, and it optimizes it so you get the best performance and utilization of those GPUs, so you're not wasting GPU resources while you're doing that training job. And then it helps you actually customize that, and we support multiple customization methods, so you can easily customize that model using your proprietary data, and then put that into production using TensorRT, which is a tool that we've had for many years, but we just recently announced a version of it for large language models. And that also is part of our NeMo framework. The TensorRT LLM is the tool we use to optimize Llama 2, which gave us the 4x improvement in performance. So using TensorRT LLM to optimize performance of your model is really helpful before you put it into deployment. And then it includes Guardrails, which is our framework for helping enterprises put boundaries around their models to guard against hallucination, so the model doesn't answer a question that it wasn't actually trained to answer, and things like language. If there's different language you don't want it to use, it prevents against that as well. And you can, develop your own guardrails based on your business and your criteria. It's a very flexible model. And then obviously you put that into production. All of that is running, all of the full NeMo framework, all of the tool chest is running on DGX Cloud, and is part of our NVIDIA Enterprise full stack software, which you'll learn about in a little bit. And all of that's available on the DGX Cloud. So with that, I think my next slide is to double click and do a little more explanation on DGX Cloud and what is included in DGX Cloud, and Carolyn's going to help with that.
All right, thank you, Anne. That was great. So I just want to double click on DGX Cloud. We've talked a lot about what an AI Foundry is, but what is DGX Cloud? Well, you can think of it as the AI factory inside of an AI Foundry. So I think it comes to no surprise when I tell you that there's a GPU shortage, but at the same time, your developers are asking for more resources to do their best work. But what they really want is a place to experiment, and with that, multi-node clusters are extremely important for that. They can help train models faster than any other configuration out there. And unlike taking a bare metal instance, DGX Cloud includes expertise to help you make sure that you're getting the highest GPU utilization rates and you're training as fast as possible. So with that, your developers aren't left trying to figure out how to cobble together the bits and get unstuck, right? So because of the benefits, that access to multi-node clusters, access to software that helps boost productivity, and the AI expertise that comes along with that, that all leads to lower effort to your developers and ultimately a lower cost, which we all like to see. So let's look at how DGX Cloud can help streamline developer productivity. So we sat down with some data scientists and developers to really understand what gets in the way of them doing their best work and what gets in the way of them doing their job, which is innovating, right? So it turns out that there's a lot of non-value added time spent just stack engineering, waiting for resources to appear. They're often being told, okay, yeah, that's great, but you'll have to wait a few months for some GPUs to become free. And then once they get their job off and started, then they're left monitoring the job, making sure it went through. So DGX Cloud solves these problems by giving you immediate access to multi-node infrastructure. We literally have clusters waiting to be occupied within Azure. It also is given the full software suite that helps with optimized containers for that multi-node infrastructure and optimized frameworks like NeMo. And it also gives you advanced telemetry to see how resources are being consumed across your teams. You can see if one developer is hogging all the GPUs and one is not working at all. So let's look at all that's included in DGX Cloud. So we've teamed up with leading clouds like Azure to bring DGX Cloud to you. With that, you can take your chosen foundation model and customize it with NeMo. So you can take BERT, Llama 2, whatever, customize it for your specific business use case and train it with DGX Cloud. Now you don't have to worry about procuring and managing an AI supercomputer just for one AI project. And all that time that's spent by your developers to try and get unstuck, right? I like to use that term, just trying to get their code off the ground. All of that is very, very time consuming, and a lot of sweat equity goes into fixing that. So with DGX Cloud, you get access to AI expertise, a whole, thousands of experts in NVIDIA doing AI research and knowing what's the best of the best, right? So you get access to those as well. So what you really need, right, is an AI factory within your AI Foundry. You want to be churning those models out as fast as possible. DGX Cloud is an amazing supercomputing platform for training. And you can create your own customized enterprise-grade foundation models right there. Now let's take a look at some of the software that Anne mentioned. And Charlie is going to double-click on NVIDIA AI Enterprise.
All right. Thanks, Carolyn. Anne and Carolyn walked you through kind of, the left side of what you're seeing here. So once you're done customizing your foundation model, then you have your enterprise model, right? So this is your model running on NVIDIA AI Enterprise, and there's different ways to deploy it on Azure, and we continue to make it easy for you, meet you where you're using building and deploying your AI. And so once you're in deployment, you could go to Azure ML. How many out there are users of Azure ML? Okay. What about VMIs on the marketplace? All right. And then AKS. Does anyone use AKS here? Okay. So I'm seeing, AKS is a popular deployment option as well. We recently added support for it. So whether you want to deploy on Azure ML, we added production branches of Triton. So for your Azure ML endpoints, you could use production branches of Triton. And what that is we have releases for Triton that's stable for 9 months. And then Anne mentioned NeMo, so that's also been added. And then if you want to do VMIs on the Azure Marketplace, we offer it on demand or through a private offer if you want like a longer term and use your Mac. So what is NVIDIA AI Enterprise? Anne went through the NVIDIA AI Platform, which is a full stack AI platform. She talked about the AI foundation models and services. And I think most of you are familiar with the infrastructure and using the NVIDIA GPUs. The AI platform software is known as NVIDIA AI Enterprise. And you can see that within NVIDIA AI Enterprise, we offer a lot of enterprise-grade capabilities and software. So on the left side is the infrastructure management. Much of this you'll already get through using Azure infrastructure. So most of which you'll use from NVIDIA AI Enterprise are the application framework. So we talked about NeMo already. There's Morpheus for cybersecurity. Within Azure ML, we have things like Monai and DeepStream for computer vision. And then for the AI development, so for your end-to-end development and deployment for AI, we have production-grade Rapids or Rapids Accelerator for Apache Spark. We talked about NeMo, but there's PyTorch and TensorFlow. Again, all these are available with like production branching. So if you want to do production AI, it's fully supported. There's security, API stability on these. And then this goes for the full cycle. So when you're inferencing and then scaling your AI, it's fully supported within NVIDIA AI Enterprise. So why would you need enterprise-grade software? Well, AI is very complex. And so what you're seeing here is with the green dots, those are NVIDIA software libraries or packages. This could be like CUDA. And all the lines that you see are dependencies. So you can see how everything's interconnected. There's over 4,000 software packages in the AI development stack. And so when you think of if there is a security breach or if there's an issue in any piece of this, your whole AI could come down, right? And so knowing that you're building off software that is production grade and that ensures security, support, and stability, that's going to be very important for you going forward. Here's an example of when you're using NVIDIA software, we're constantly improving our software so that the investment that you make on the hardware, so you spend a lot of money on the instances, right, to accelerate your workloads. Well, if you're using NVIDIA AI Enterprise software, we continue to optimize it. So with the same GPUs, this is showing is that it's improving over time with the same GPUs that you're using. And so here we're also showing this is the value of accelerated computing, that you could see the throughput compared to if you're just running in CPUs. CPUs will do the job. They're great. They're needed. But if you want to accelerate your workload and get time to market quicker, accelerating your workload with GPUs with the whole AI platform will help you get time to market and ultimately reduce costs. So just to kind of summarize the benefits that NVIDIA AI Enterprise will provide you is optimized for accelerated computing so you could get to market and to production and time to money quicker. You get the enterprise-grade security, stability, manageability, and support. So who are you going to call? If something goes wrong, who are you going to call today or in the future? Call NVIDIA. And then lastly, you can build and deploy on Azure. Again, DGX Cloud is available now on Azure. You could go get it today. And then if you're coming from on-prem, you have the same software and the accelerators that you could easily bring over to Azure. And just kind of wrapping it up, I just want to summarize, the big announcement that we had is the idea of an AI foundry, right? How you're going to build your AI. Carolyn talked about, between what Anne and Carolyn talked about, you have your AI foundation. So these are the models. You can explore the models. Now they're available in Azure ML. You have NeMo framework that is part of, that's also included in Azure ML and part of NVIDIA AI Enterprise. And then DGX Cloud to really bring that all together to train your model and customize it. And NVIDIA AI Enterprise is included in DGX Cloud. So when you're building it and then you're deploying it, you're using the same software. It's seamless. OK, and I'm going to hand it over to Robin to wrap it up.
So hopefully that was pretty educational. I know I learned something every time I have the opportunity to engage with my NVIDIA colleagues. But as all three of them stated, right, all of this is available today in the Azure Marketplace as well as through Azure ML. And we've happen to have some QR codes. If you so choose, you can actually go use the QR codes here to go directly to those offers, both in the marketplace and then through Azure ML. So I would encourage you, and there's also, we have a link down there at the bottom if you have some specific questions, but you can go here and request a connection point with an NVIDIA counterpart. I would also encourage you, if you're a managed Microsoft account or you've got connections with Microsoft, go to your reps and engage in conversations, because we are prepared and ready to take any and all comers that want to participate and get on this journey with us, because we're super excited to be here. And this is just sort of the beginning of this journey, which we're all excited to be on together. So with that, again, thank you for your time. I think what we're going to do is take some questions. I know that there's been some questions that have come through the system, and so I'm going to bring my colleagues back up here, because you don't want me answering NVIDIA questions, I know that, yet. I don't know. So we'll just go ahead and read the questions, and then I guess one of you.
Although you could, like, is there people in the audience that want to ask these
if anybody's
questions?
like,
It's not like, I'm not worried about getting too many.
all right, no. So we'll go ahead and.
All right.
So you want to start?
Yeah, so what sort of services can NVIDIA provide on top of the DGX Cloud platform to help train, develop the right models?
Do you want to take that one? Want me to take it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we provide full support services. So we have a full enterprise support team. It's worldwide. So obviously you can get support through Microsoft. But for the NVIDIA models, our software, making sure if you're having problems with optimization, you're not getting the performance you think you should, you can also contact our own support organization, which is, sorry, worldwide, local language support, first-class enterprise organization.
And
I'm going to get my water.
Yeah, no worries. I'll add that because it's a platform, everything you need, like the expertise and everything, that's included in the price that you pay, as well as NVIDIA AI Enterprise. So you don't have to buy extra licenses and stuff like that. Everything's included for that one price. So you know what your cloud bill is going to be at the end of the month. All right, next question.
And I'll just actually chime in there too, like on just like the actual transaction itself, purchasing it through the marketplace now, that also can be a benefit if you are a customer that has a Mac with Microsoft or you've got any sort of Azure commitment. Purchasing of DGX Cloud, NVAIE, through the marketplace will also help burn down that commitment that you've made to Microsoft as well. So we're thrilled that that's even part of sort of this whole Foundry experience.
How many of you are having issues with getting accelerated infrastructure, GPU infrastructure? Is that an issue? Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I was hoping to see some edge use cases, but you didn't talk about any of those. So do you mind that?
Yeah, for a retail edge or any specific vertical?
Any remote office branch or
Sure. Well, I think that's the benefit of the cloud. Any of these models can be deployed in the cloud and then accessed right from the edge for edge use case. Well, we do have, infrastructure developed for edge, on-prem edge, if that's what you're interested, but we should probably take that offline. But running your AI from the cloud means you access it and can run it from the edge, right? And then also, using, local data support, you can, get data from the edge, bring it back to cloud, process it, update your model, tune your model, and then provision your model out to your users. Is that what you were? Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's the benefit of the cloud, right? Your cloud is your infrastructure, and your model runtime is available anywhere you have an internet connection.
Do I push this to get the next one? No.
Can we get another question on the teleprompter?
There's no more on through the app if anyone wants to submit any right here, but that was the only
Okay.
question submitted.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, so how many of you think you might try the Foundry? Okay. let us know. Contact. We had a hard time putting this presentation together because it's available in so many different places. Like we have Azure Machine Learning, it's in the marketplace, and how to unpack that. So if you are interested in getting support from NVIDIA, doing generative AI on Azure, contact your account manager, and we will help map out the foundry that maps to where you want to be doing your compute and your accelerated infrastructure, right? There's lots of options, whether you want to run it on an instance that you're buying from Azure, or you're doing our DGX Cloud, or you're in Azure Machine Learning on your AKS, whatever. There's lots of flexibility. The key components, the models, accelerated compute, our frameworks for optimizing that process, can be all curated and put into Foundry however you want to use that Foundry.
We got another question that popped up.
Sorry, I'm not cold. I just have something in my throat. Okay, so with the DGX software, we have a seamless transition from a model trained in the NVIDIA tenant to one hosted on NVIDIA AI Enterprise in the tenant. That turns down my Mac, is that correct? Okay, hold on, there's like 2 questions in there. Yeah, so you would use your Mac to purchase NVIDIA DGX to do your model training. And then when you take that model and you put it into production, you would run an instance of an accelerated VM from Azure, and then purchase in its license per GPU an instance of NVIDIA AI Enterprise. Mac can be used for both of those. When you're using DGX, you're not having to license NVIDIA AI software. It's included in DGX. So you're not paying for software when you're doing DGX. The runtime support we recommend for when you put it into production, so that you're on production grade software and you have support, especially if you're running your business on that implementation, if it's business critical.
Yeah, and then just to add to that, so I've had this question before, but since NVIDIA AI Enterprise is included in DGX Cloud, once you're done with the DGX Cloud service, you no longer really have access to NVIDIA AI Enterprise. So there you could get it through either the marketplace, like through a VMI, or you could get it through like Azure ML, for example, right? So yeah, it's seamless, but once you're done with DGX Cloud, then you won't have access to it anymore. I just wanted to make that clear.
Which means you're not paying for it anymore, too. You rent it, pay for it when you need it, and then subscribe and get more when you need it. And I think that's one of the benefits of having this in the cloud is, AI, generative AI, it's not a linear process, predictably linear. You're doing all these iterations. So sometimes you need to burst, you need more acceleration, and then you don't need it. But you can really end up bursting, paying for what you need when you need it, and then cycle down and decrease your spend if you're not using that capacity. So pay for what you need when you need it and get the best efficiency so you're using it and optimizing utilization of that capacity. Are there any plans to include this as model as a service? Yes, we do have endpoints of our models available on our NGC platform. So all the models I talked about are obviously the Nematron models are available on Azure Machine Learning. And then those models, as well as the optimized community ones, are available on NVIDIA AI Foundation's model page, which is at NGC. And we also publish endpoints to those models there as well. And one tidbit of fact I forgot to mention when I was talking about the models, if anybody's still interested in the models, is that they support 50 languages, which I think is pretty impressive. So 50 spoken languages, 35 coding languages. So they really are enterprise grade, industrial grade. If you want, to use a safe LLM model, it's a great option.
The next question says, does the DGX Cloud support confidential computing? So I'll just comment that DGX Cloud, we really look at it as the training process, and when you're looking at the whole AI Foundry and the whole AI journey. So it's really just those temporal needs where you do have a big AI mandate and you have a project you really want to work on, and you need to use DGX Cloud for training. But when you push to inference, that's when you use NVIDIA AI Enterprise to help optimize the inference speeds and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say.
And when you move to that inference, if you want the benefit of confidential computing, you can deploy your inference load on the GPU instances that support confidential computing. NVIDIA Enterprise is supported on those. So you can run your AI in production, do inference with confidential computing as the underlying instance infrastructure that you're running on. Any other questions? Anything from the audience? Come on, guys, gals, anything? Okay.
Did you want to mention the session that's coming up?
Oh, yeah,
5?
maybe that's where everybody is. There's another session right after this one at 5 o'clock. It's with Nidhi Chappelle. Am I saying her name right? Okay. Who's the GM of Microsoft Azure's infrastructure. And Ian Beck, our executive VP for infrastructure, is going to be making a special appearance there. So if you really want to get nitty-gritty on the GPUs, in the infrastructure side, we obviously focused on the software side and the Foundry side, but if you want to talk about all the stuff that it's running on and why it runs so fast, that's where you want to go next.
Yeah, we have a couple more hours for booth time, but if you want to see a demo of DGX Cloud or poke around in NVIDIA AI Enterprise, go ahead and stop by our booth. It's bright green, can't miss it. And see what it looks like in real time. And those experts are there to help answer your questions.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.